My name is Kimberly Brown and I'm doing the cow eyeball dissection. In this video we're going to take a look at a couple of the differences between a human eyeball and a cow eyeball. We're going to be going over some of the anatomy of the eyeball. First things first, I got some scissors to cut open the bag of the eyeball. I have a mask because this eyeball is very stinky, and some safety gloves. I'm going to go ahead and cut open the eyeball. I'm going to be kind of careful cutting open the eyeball because I don't want to puncture the eyeball before I get to the dissection part. I'm going to do my best to try and show you all portions of the eyeball. It's kind of hard while taping. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and gently remove the eyeball. The eyeball is it's made of squishy material, so it's going to be rather easy to puncture. I just want to go over some quick differences of the eyeballs. With this cow eyeball, as you can see, the shape of the color here, which would be the pupil shape, in humans it's more round, and in cows it's more oval shaped. With this being said, cows have weak eye muscles due to the shape of their pupils. Because their pupils are shaped more of an oval, they have really weak muscles, so it actually interferes with their sight. Humans generally have really round pupils. Of course, if you have astigmatism, your eyeballs are a little bit more, I guess you could say, cow-shaped. They start to kind of wear away and they turn into a little more oval. Anyhow, with this, this part here is going to be the pupil. We have on the back side, normally, let's see, I think there's a casing on here. I don't want to get too much into it at this point. You can kind of feel it's a little squishy here, but I'm sorry, on the back here is going to be the muscles for the eye. Now, interesting thing about cow eyeballs, they only have 4 eyeball muscles versus a human has 6 muscles. So humans are able to look up and down and left and right, and they can roll their eyes because they have more muscles connected in the back. The cow only has 4, so they're only able to look up and down, left and right. They're unable to roll their eyeballs. So their function of their eyeball is a little bit more vague than the function of a human eyeball. So just a few things. Over here in the back we have an optic nerve that's going to be at the bottom there. The cornea is in the front here. It's the covering of the eyeball. The ciliary muscle is headed back towards the upper part of the eyeball. There's the iris, which is actually the color of your eye, and with the cows, the iris is mostly brown. This one, however, well, as I take it apart, this one is blue, but it needs to be cut into to see. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this just a little bit so I can see the muscles on here. The casing and the muscles and everything is very thick. As I kind of tear the eyeball apart, you can get into it a little bit more. It's actually very, all this on the outside is very rough to get into, so So more of the anatomy is going to be actually put onto the pictures in the lab exercise, because it's a little bit easier to visualize versus being in the video here. You can only see so much. Going on to the anatomy, the posterior cavity is actually going to be behind the lens. The anterior cavity is just right in front of the, like on the side of the lens. The iris is under. The ciliary body is the outside of the eyeball, which makes the shape. The optic nerve is really important because that's how we use to visualize, as well as the light with eyeballs. The light is retracted and actually reflected, and that's how we actually get our vision, is from the reflect of the light. So I'm attempting to cut into this a little bit. It is very difficult to chop into. I'm using some pretty heavy duty scissors here, but to get into it, it's pretty difficult. I'm going to kind of show you some of the back end part of it as I cut into a little bit of the muscle. I would, ideally I want to take this portion of the eyeball out so you can see it. I'm bulging it here so you can really see. I don't want to cut it in half, so I'm trying to be very easy with it. But this cow eyeball is pretty hard to cut into. It's not actually letting me cut the pieces so much. It feels like one of those plastic bulging eyeballs, the ones that have the water and the glitter in them. So I'm trying to cut this apart. Once I cut this apart, I'll do the pictures as well for the that are on the video, or on the written portion of the exam, and you'll be able to see that. So really, that's the eyeball in the nutshell. The lateral view of the cow eye would be, it's going to be shaped towards this way. This would be if it's lateral, with the eye facing towards the front, and this is where the optic nerve and everything is in the back. The cornea is going to be facing towards this way. That way you can get the lateral vision. Internal posterior portion of the various chamber. It actually is more of an example of the flow to the pupil. So when it's explaining that and it's shaped that way, that's the flow to the pupil. The anterior chamber is actually close to the side of the cornea. The cornea is in the front, the anterior cavity is to the side, and the posterior is to the other side. That's pretty much it for the cow eyeball.